SourKidsProductions.
Yeah, it's 7 o'clock. Lil' Flip in the building. Hey, Money Elms, you ready? Let's go. Welcome to Elm Street, the hottest podcast. And all that cash in Money Elms pockets, it look like thigh pads. He talking trending topics, he ain't no carbon copy. We talking sports, music, and fashion and other options to get us out the hood and keep that paper coming. And I smoke cones, not backwoods, I'm about to blaze an onion. These rappers flexing on the gram and they got fake cheddar. This intro was provided to you by Flip Mayweather. That right. Yeety, Money Elms, what's up? Yeah, Lil' Flip in the building, screwed up clip. Welcome to Elm Street.
Yo, what's going on, folks? Welcome to another episode of Welcome to Elm Street. I'm your boy, your host, Money Elms, man. Man, it's been a crazy week, man. You know, I almost had to swim to this bitch. Nah, I'm bullshit. You know what I'm saying? We been getting all this fucking rain out here in the D, man, that, you know, couple weeks ago, I probably did almost had to take a boat out here, man. But we good, man. We got H-Town in the house. I say we got H-Town in the house. Hey, I got the legend in the house, man. Let me go ahead and introduce him, man. We got the one and only GRIMM. What's up, baby?
What's up? Elm Street. I love it, man. I'm checking you, man. You're doing it, man. I appreciate it.
Hey.
Thanks for having me, and it's an honor, man, to be on your show.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you coming through, man.
And thank you for the beer.
Already, man. It's the least I could do, man. And, you know, if you know, GRIMM has actually been on Elm Street since, like, you could say the beginning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like I said, if you've been following, you know, since day one, you'll know. But, you know, I had to bring you back, bro. And, you know, some situations don't plan out the way they
right.
You know, they were headed. But so we had to make a little switch. And, you know, now we're here at SourKidsProductions. And then I was like, you know what? You know, I trashed all the old archives. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, you know what? It's only fair to bring back the people that kind of started this whole thing, bro.
Right on, man.
And I believe you were my third or fourth guest.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
You know what I mean? So
I know I was in the beginning of somewhere. Well, you know, we started all the time. So
yeah. So like I said, if they know, they know. But if not, then, you know what I'm saying, you know, you get to see them now. So we're going to go ahead and jump in on what's popping out here in these streets, man. And I know for sure one thing that caught my eye this week, in case you've been under a rock, you know, 50 Cent just had his, you know, tycoon weekend out there in the H.
Houston.
Yup. That thing was major.
Yeah.
You know, it looked like everybody was there. Anybody who was anybody in the industry that was out there in H-Town.
Yeah, tycoon weekends, he pulls them off. And this weekend it was in H-Town. So it was a wild one though, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. I got to see some of the footage. I seen somebody had to pull Ray J off a dancer because it almost seemed like he was trying to dry hump her or something.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I was like, what's up with Ray J? And then it was funny because I was watching this little clip that Bebe, he actually did a reel and he had 50 Cent and he's like, hey, R&B. He's like, we can only have R&B one at a time. I guess he's talking about Ray J wilding out and shit. So yeah, that was a trip, man. But you know, that was dope. You know, to see all these artists and stuff. You know, kind of.
Well, he lives out there now, right? 50 lives out there in Houston. Apparently, he got a house. I should say he lives out there. He's got a house out in Houston. So apparently, so he's been spending a lot of time down there, and so why not, right? He's been to
Yeah.
the rodeo. He was at the livestock and show down in February. And like I said, he's been out there. So why not throw the Tycoon weekend in Houston?
Yeah.
There was a lot of people out there. Obviously the Bun B's and the and all the artists coming out to, what is it? Prince Jr. Prince Jr. is out there doing it, making moves, man. Shout out to Rap A Lot and all them boys and Bun B, and peace to my boy Pimp C out there, man, looking down on us. But I think he was frowning on us this weekend a little bit.
Oh yeah, man. That's for sure, man. We got to get into that, man, because that's one of the things that caught my eye, bro. You know, there's always been this, you can rumor. I don't know if you want to call it a rumor, because I mean, to me, that's what it was
Mhm.
till now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now I'm like, okay, no, those rumors I could put them to rest.
Right.
In case you don't know what I'm talking about that Zero and Trey, squabble that they had.
Yeah.
It's a trip because what first came out was just a regular video clip where it starts off with Trey, Zero on the floor.
Yeah.
And you could tell he was protecting himself. But when I first seen that video clip, I didn't know it was Zero.
No, same thing.
You know what I mean?
Likewise. Yeah.
I was like, what is this? Is it
exactly.
just a fight? And then afterwards, I was like, it was nothing. It was somebody just was beaming on somebody, and then it looked like it was over.
Right.
But then I started, as time started going by, stuff started surfacing.
Well, you read the captions and everything, right?
Yeah, but you know what? When I first seen the clip, it didn't say nothing about because I forgot where
Well, I don't
seen
pay
it.
attention to any of that either. I just look at the video. So
Yeah.
I'm like you. I didn't really understand.
So yeah, I didn't know it was who it was.
Right.
Until like a couple hours later.
Right.
Then I re-seen the video again.
Hours.
Yeah. And then then the title is now it says Zero.
Right.
Zero some. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Right.
But I was like, oh shit. I was like, so I started watching it over again. Then, then next thing you know, people are talking about it, and then, then he even talked about it. He came out, and
Right.
I guess he got interviewed on TMZ. And
he did.
Yeah.
So that's what that video was from, an interview with TMZ.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that at all. I saw he came with his video afterward, but when I first saw it, I was just like you, confused as a motherfucker. I didn't know who the fuck it was and why it was even a video. And then, but immediately, I'm looking at all the captions and everything else, and I didn't believe. I told my wife, I said, "You see this shit?" And so then I started to really investigate. I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Right. Being from Houston, I know these guys, man. I mean, we've been in the circles for years. This is, and so after I got a grasp of what it was and what was going on and who it was, and then I started the wheels started to spin and the gears started going in my head. And like I said, I've been doing this for a while. I'm from Houston. I don't know these guys like I know my brother, or like I know my family, or even my closest friends. But I know these guys, and from years. And I can say this, that's years and years and years and years, like 10 years, or at least 10, 12, 15 years. I don't know. But immediately what I thought about it was, man, this is the technology, man, right? This is the new day and age where everybody has a phone. Big brother, little brother, everybody's watching. When I was growing up, or when we were doing what we were doing in the 90s or earlier, they didn't have any of this. So immediately what I thought was I totally could relate to what was going on in their situation, even though I didn't know really what the details, right? It's some we call this locker room shit.
Yeah.
In my circles, with my brother and everybody else, we don't expose. Just, I'm a sports dude, and so we don't expose what's in the locker room. We don't go out there and to the media, quote unquote.
Yeah,
now it's social media, right? And we don't really. it's not like not telling the truth, but you don't let everybody know what's going on with the family.
Yeah, of course.
Right? With everybody
You know
behind closed doors.
what's pretty much at home stays at home. You know what I mean?
Correct.
It's nobody's business.
Exactly. So you handle that, you hash that out between your brothers, your sisters, and so forth. And so to me, when I saw that and I realized I saw that, I was like, man, that's some personal shit. That's between them. It's. I mean, how many times have I raised my hand against my brother? You know what I'm saying? I've had fights with my brothers. I've had fights with my brothers from other mothers, like Fileto, Balasso. Well, not Balasso, Loco. Actually, not Fileto. Man, we've had our disagreements, but I've actually had altercations with people in my group, and I don't think that's out of the ordinary, to be honest.
No, because how we were talking about it off the air, you know, every major group that's kind of been out there, they've all had their share of drama, problems. I mean, it happens, bro.
Hotel room.
Yeah, because I
you know,
mean,
this
think about
goes
it,
on,
bro.
that goes
You
on.
spend countless hours with these individuals, bro.
Correct.
You know, whether it's
It's
in
a
the studio,
marriage.
in the booth. Yeah, exactly. If it's not in the studio, you're out in the road. And then sharing hotel rooms, you know what I mean?
Like you
Eating
said,
breakfast.
you're spending more time sometimes than you spend with your family.
Yeah, with your real family.
Right. Just like people at work, right? They spend more of their day with, right. So it's the same thing. Only difference is it's not a professional. It's not so quote unquote a professional environment. It's not so much, you're working for a company or a job. You're out there on your own doing what you do, late night, hours at a time, probably doing a little this, little that, smoking, drinking, and who knows whatever, and tempers fly. And like you were saying earlier, we've all got off on the side of the road and said, "Oh, come on, man, we
Let's
going,"
get it.
And so to me, that seemed like, nah, I don't know. I'm not saying that I have any business saying that I know what really went on at Tycoon Weekend this past weekend between Trey and everything. But watching the videos, and you showed me a new video today, and let's just be honest, it hurt me.
Yeah.
Just like the first video hurt me. And I got it bothers me because I look at these two guys like I look at me and my brother's shadow, and they're brothers. And to see them fighting or even in any kind of altercation physically in that manner, it breaks me down, man.
Yeah.
It because I know them. I know that in that moment, that's what that was. But that's not who they are.
Yeah.
Both of them, man. They're stand-up cats, man. Both of them. And that's what disappointed, what I guess you could say disappointed me, because it's what the view is. Hey, we live in a society right now where public opinion is almost, judge and jury, right? And not to say that really matters, because I don't live by that. People that know me know that this whole new, era of whatever's going on, I'm comfortable in my skin.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna be me, and I'm glad, just like Serena just said recently, I'm Serena. I'm Grimm. I'm gonna be me, and I can relate to Serena, and I can relate, to anybody that feels that way, and that's just how it is. So
Yeah.
I really give a lot of power and effort to those guys, Zero and Trey. That last video you just showed me, I really don't want to speak on it. You just gonna have to check it out yourselves.
Yeah.
There's a couple of more videos, and it involves more. And I mean, I cried, bro. It 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 struck a nerve. Like I said, I felt like it was me having a situation with either me and my brother or me and my son. Anthony. It really. But like I say again, that's their business.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I mean, that's exactly what it is.
And and like I heard that they talked it over for 2 hours. Look, let me tell you something, man. My brother's going something right now. We got one of my best friends is Carlos, SPM, and my brother works for him. There's a situation that my brother's going with Carlos right now, and I hate to say it. I shouldn't have said it. And my brother's gonna be like, really? But those things happen.
Oh yeah.
And it's how you handle it from that point and on. And as long as you're professional and you're still brothers and you can hug it out and everything. But I think that's going to happen, to be honest with you. I think they're going to talk and they're going to sit there and say this was really stupid.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. But
I mean, cause when that first video, like I said, it came out, I was like, well, it just might have looked like it was something minor. But when I seen
nah, did you really?
I mean, cause
I didn't, man, bro. Let me say this: anybody from Houston or anybody that has any interest in the area, you could be from around the world, and just have that kind of interest in Houston, especially from coming. That was It was epic. It was like what the fuck, man.
yeah. But the second video, oh,
That blew that blew me. You saw you just showed it to me right here
Yeah.
on today, and you saw my reaction.
Oh yeah,
Um,
most definitely.
it
So,
it bothered me, man, and
yeah.
and but at the same time, I had to gather myself. The immediate reaction that I had was hurt
Yeah.
and disappointment. Same thing with the first video. To be
Yeah.
honest, I reacted the same way, and that's just me. I'm a Pisces, and I'm very what's the word?
Emotional.
Sympathetic and then empathetic. I get in your shoes, man, and so I feel like those are my brothers, even though we're close, but we're not super close, and they probably don't feel the same as close as I do towards them. But that's just how I am with everybody,
Yeah.
and anybody that knows me will understands that. But so when I saw that, I was just like, I just, I don't understand,
Well, see that's where I
but I
was like,
understand.
at that moment I was like,
Does that make
oh,
sense?
okay, then
Does
I
that make
was
sense?
wrong. It's bigger than that.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time I
Well,
also
he said that.
but
Rose said that though.
but at the same time I was like, well, it's internal and it's something we have no business or really don't know what the root of the
Well, we say internal, right? But when I say that, it doesn't mean just between him and Trey.
yeah.
Remember, we all have circles, right? That's
Yes,
what you were saying
yes,
earlier, right?
sir.
It's
Yep.
not just, you know, one on one. It's like you and you're following, and there's always that guy, man. There's always somebody who, even though you might be, I've had this with me,
Mhm.
where I had somebody who was more passionate about something, and I'm like, hey, relax, bro. We're gonna. This is how we're gonna handle it. We're gonna do this, but they have another agenda, right?
Yeah.
And they're ready to fire off at a moment's notice. And
Yeah.
you sometimes, and you know this, everybody's got that person in their
Oh, yeah.
circles, right? And you
Yep.
got to be like, even family. And I know personally because I've had family, friends, and so forth, and I've plenty of times over. I've been doing this for a long time, man. I've been doing this for 35 plus years since I was a kid, and I'm more than a kid and a kid again. But I've had that happen, man, and so that's why I can relate. So when I saw it, yeah, my it was shock. It was shit. What
Yeah.
the fuck, But at the same time, once I processed it and once I realized what I was looking at, and I'm very observant just as a person, so I started watching and listening to a lot of stuff that was going on without really directing my vote. So after really, looking at things, I realized, and I told my brother, bro, this is some locker room shit. And my
Yeah.
brother goes, exactly. And from then on, now we're talking about it because it is a topic and it's hot. And I think we can all learn from this, man. I believe that they're gonna figure it out and something positive is gonna work because that's how they are. They're
Yeah.
both positive people. They might have some, within their circles, but they're alphas, man. They're both alphas, and you know how that goes
Yeah.
when you got two alpha. When you got alphas, man, this is how it works,
Yep.
right? You seen it. You were just
some's
talking.
bound to go down.
You
know
were
what I
just
mean?
talking about.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get into details, but you were just talking about the circles, and I know who you were. We know
Yeah.
these people. We know your friends, and I know they're my friends.
Yeah.
And the shit that was going on, fuck, at the same time, about 10 years ago,
Yeah.
same type of shit. I mean, I'm sure there's stories you can go back and look and where this kind of the origins are from.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to, and I'm sure there's people that are their fans and that understand what they know.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be like, it's about right about here is where shit started.
Yeah, when it happened.
And you can go back, and I guarantee you it's about 10 years.
So let me ask you this: what do you think if Pimp C, rest in peace, Pimp C was alive? How do you think he would reacted to this? Because I know he was big on unity,
Correct.
especially out there in Houston.
He'd be pissed. I know Pimp. I know Pimp. I know Bun B. I know them, and I talk to Pimp a lot, and that's just the way it is. And he would be hot. And what I love about Pimp and people like Point Blank, there are certain people like him and those guys that will let you know. You know what I mean? They're gonna call you and they're gonna let you know. They're gonna pull you to the side and they're gonna say my nigga. I hate using that word. I'm sorry. We're getting away from that word as Mexicanos. So
Yeah.
but yeah, they're gonna pull them to the side and say, "Hey, man, you gotta straighten up, man. We can't do that." You've heard the songs. That wasn't just lip service. That wasn't just a song.
Yeah.
This is the way he was, and so yeah, I believe him looking down and being really disappointed, um, and would be the dude that would let him know in some way or form or fashion. He might not just tell him, but nah, he would just tell him.
Straight up, probably pick up the phone.
He'd
call
get
him
him.
up.
He'd get him to the side, and he'd call him, or even get him alone one place. And the pimp that I know would definitely do that, and I would feel like Bumby would feel the same way. But we're all different, man, and that's what I love about Houston went through a time, and I'm going back to the '90s, when there wasn't not getting any north side, south side, eat whatever. Rap a lot, this, that, whatever. They weren't, but somewhere around along the lines, we clicked, and people realized, even though you're gonna have differences, is enough defeat. And Pimp C was one of them. Point Blank was one of them in my circles. Point Blank was one of those guys. Not to say that everybody wasn't thinking the wrong. Say it was talking about speaking up and saying, like, "Hey, for real,"
Mm-hmm.
And that's what. And I think everybody has that. Dallas too. Everybody's got somebody in their circles that's gonna at least speak up and say, "This is what we need to do, and this is what we ain't gonna do."
Yeah.
And we miss them, man. We miss Pimp C. But
But
yeah,
you know
you're
what?
right.
Right before even this went down, because a lot of people usually speak about Houston like man, everybody over there is united.
Right.
They fucks with everybody.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And it's
Wasn't always like that.
but it's sad to say that in out here in Dallas,
Yeah.
it's really not like that.
Correct. And I've said that. So I've been up here from Houston for over 10 years, 11, 12 years. And our rest in peace, my brother DJ Hollywood, and Reeve. These are some of the same thing in the chaotic DJs back when the KNON, when I first got here, like I said, 11, 12 years ago. These are some of the same, you're echoing the same sentiments that I was saying then. And I got to witness, the animosities or whatever, or so-called animosities. Because like I said, I'm not in those circles. I don't know what's going on, but I like the outsider looking in. And
yeah.
and even though I'm in my own city, I saw it. You could, and then like I really can't explain when, but and I could only point to certain people and say, I bet you he had something to do it, and he had. But something happened where everybody said, "Fuck that. We're gonna, even though we have differences, we're gonna work towards the same goal." And there's enough for everybody to
Yeah,
eat,
exactly.
right? And everybody, once they caught on to that, and I would say around the '90s, mid '90s, people people really gravitated. Now look, right? When I moved to Dallas 10, 12 years ago, I noticed the same thing in Dallas. And I pointed it out. I was like, bro, y'all got the same thing. And it was literally the same. Nobody would get around, they wouldn't get along. Or even if they tried to work together, it was sour. It was just kind of like, it's the streets,
Yeah,
right? Somebody got smart and said, boom. I haven't seen that. I still haven't seen that happen. I mean, on certain levels it has, but and maybe I'm just out of tune, out of I don't know. Maybe somebody could say right now and be like, you just don't know. It's really happening, but from an outsider again looking in, I haven't seen it,
yeah,
and it's kind of again disappointing because there's so much. There's more than enough for everybody to eat, and it's a mentality you got to get over. It's like a big old fucking hump you got to get over. And like I said, I don't know how it happened. I just happened to be a product and be blessed to. Again, I was doing music before Carlos. I was doing music, and I was quote unquote the first Mexican rapper. Well, shit, I was the first Mexican rapper in Texas.
as a matter of fact, I was talking to one of my partners. He's an OG, and yeah, shout out to my boy Raul, man, with a wee ball, man. And I was talking to him, and when I told him he was coming on, he's like, man, that's one of my favorite rappers of all time, man.
Right on.
He's like, man, you put it down for for Texas, bro.
Right.
If it weren't for you, there probably wouldn't be SPM.
Correct.
There probably wouldn't be such and such, such and such. As far as in the Mexicanos and Latinos, you know what I mean, out here in
Right.
Texas,
Right.
and that's just real, bro.
No, that I mean, and it's because of my brother Shadow. I wasn't a rapper. My brother Shadow was all in the hip hop and everything. I was in the rock and roll. He was, and then at one point he was messing with the South Park Coalition. By the way, they got a show coming up in September 10th.
September 10th.
Yeah, I'll
Was
be
that
down
at?
there in Houston doing a 35th annual
Uh,
South Park Coalition reunion show. Right, they do it every year. 35th. But we were in the first draft class of the SPC.
uh,
And so we were the first Mexican Latino rappers in Texas, or even in this region, basically, at the time. And this was back in '89. So dating myself, right?
yeah,
This is pre '90s, right? This is all about my brother. I didn't even want to be a rapper. I didn't know what the fuck, I'm a rock and roller. But because of Shadow, he wanted to be in the SPC, and that's how it all started. This is like I said in '89, and we became rappers. So 4 or 5 years later, Carlos comes up to us, which not to differentiate, it's just kind of like one of the things that my brother's big on, because a lot of people I think I didn't really realize and or care. Um, People think I come to find out people are SPM's the first Mexican rapper. I was like,
yeah,
really? Okay. Well, you can ask SPM himself, and he's gonna let you know too,
yeah,
which is awesome because we grew up together,
yeah,
and so he knows, of course. But it's just funny because 5 years later, he's like, I'm gonna start rapping and everything. And don't get me wrong, once him and his family got involved in rapping and the whole thing, well, you see what happened, right? He
hmm,
built an empire, right? So Dope House is definitely a conglomerate in Houston, Texas, especially as far as Latino rappers, period. Um, but being the first doesn't always mean. I read a quote somewhere where it's hard to be the first, right? Because you don't get all the accolades. It's just like the NFL or the AFC or the NFC, right? When they first started the first Super Bowl, where was that at? It was a college field somewhere, and it wasn't even televised. But that was the first Super Bowl. Now look at the Super Bowl, right?
yeah,
So same thing, right? So being the first rapper is cool. A Mexican rapper out of Texas, it's cool. But what I really want people to know about being the first Mexican rapper in Texas was that we didn't do it for the money or the everything. I mean, we wanted to be, make money and be, celebrities or famous or whatever. But to be honest, it was really my brother's dream, and he wanted to do this because, like you said, there were no Mexican rappers. Mexican American rappers, Latino rappers, Puerto Rican rappers, whatever, Cuban rappers. So he realized, and hip hop to him, if you look at the history, originates with Latinos and blacks, and being in that conglomerate in Strong Island, Long Island, out there in New York. And so he was a big hip hop freak, man, ever since he saw Beat Street or some whatever the fuck the movie was.
Yeah.
So he came home with that shit, and he goes, I'm gonna make music, and you're gonna be a rapper. And I was like, get the fuck out of here! I'm not gonna be no fucking rapper. I'm fucking Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath, Van Halen all day, bitch.
He's like, give me an electric guitar.
And he's like, nah, nigga, you're GRIMM. I was like, who the fuck is GRIMM? What the fuck? That's you, motherfucker. I was like,
he just came out of the name out of the blue, or
yeah,
what?
I wasn't. Are you serious? I'm not gonna name. I'm GRIMM. Nah, bro. He went through a list of names. Like, don't get me wrong. You gotta ask Shadow what the list was. But he finally came up to me one day and was like, I got it. You're GRIMM. Whatever, bro. I need you to take me to the South Park Coalition headquarters, which was K Reno's house. And I want you to see, bro. I want you to see. But I don't want to go and do this by myself. As twins, growing up as me and my brother, he's gonna do something. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go with him. He wants me to go. I'm gonna go. If I want to do some stupid shit and go to a fucking thrash metal and mosh pit, he was gonna go.
Yeah.
I wouldn't make him all the time, but he would have went. So when he asked me to go do this, I was like, hell yeah. And by the way, I was selling weed and selling. So he's like, and they probably want to buy some weed, right? Like, oh, that. So we went.
That's the incentive.
Yeah, that was the thing. So we went, and they really fucked me up, because when I got there, I thought they were gonna be. I don't know what I thought. I thought they were gonna be like guys in a circle rapping, like freestyling or whatever. And it wasn't that. It was more of a kind of a classroom environment, like pen and pad and an instructor. It seemed like, almost like a school, and I dug that. I really was like, that's fucking dope. And another thing, I think it was K Reno or somebody, when I walked in, oh, you here for the class or for the session or whatever? I was like, yeah. Where's your pen and pad? I was like, I don't know what. Are y'all selling them? Y'all got anybody got a pen and pad? And like I said, I was over there to sell weed, man. I was like, shit, I'm trying to get some clients, and he's over here asking for if you got a folder and shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, do you want to do this? And I'll never forget the little spiel he gave. I was like, well, I'm here with my brother, but yeah, whatever he wants to do, I'm gonna do. Well, you gotta bring a notebook, a pen, and next time you come, be on time and everything. I was like, shit, I didn't even know we were late.
So it was like a classroom environment.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, can I borrow some paper?
And I don't know if they would even remember that.
Yeah.
Like, I told this to K Reno, and he was like, yeah, all right, whatever. I don't remember that. No shit. I was like, you know how people come up with their memories and their own because
the own version
I don't know
of
if
what
you've
happened.
ever been in therapy. Anybody been in therapy? Well, therapy. Well, I have.
I have too.
And it's nothing wrong with that. So, but what it makes you really realize is that what happens is we make up our own history, we make up our own memories, and but it's okay, because there's good trauma and there's bad trauma. Okay, that was good trauma. That was a traumatic experience I had, and I created this classroom. I think now that I look back and I've talked to K Reno, he's like, classroom. But that's what I got. That's the impression I went and I walked away with that, right? And so from that point on, it kind of triggered me. Now I didn't know I didn't know a one, what the fuck the one was, or the snare, the click, or what a bar was. Can you write me a 16-bar rap? And I was like, the fuck. My brother was the musician. He played the trumpet in junior high. This is why he wanted to be a producer, why he wanted to be in the SBC, because he wanted to make music. But he was like, you can be a rapper. And I was like, what the And I was like, I drew a little bit and wrote poetry in junior high and high school. I was a big poet. I thought, but that was for like, to for attention. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
In those days, for now, people use social media for attention,
yeah.
right? This is how they're happy when they're really sad, right?
Okay.
These were the things that I used to be happy, or when I was or to express myself, right? And so my brother keyed in on that. I didn't. And he was like, you could be a rapper." What the fuck is you're a songwriter. That's what you are. And I was like, "Oh, that makes sense. I can see that." And so that's what happened with the SPC, man. And along those lines, and why I got emotional, because if it wasn't for the SPC and me being with K Reno, uh, Dopey of the terrorist, and Egypt was my brother's mentor in music, and Dopey was my mentor in rapping.
Okay.
Because like I said, I didn't know what a rap bar was. Dopey of the terrorist at the time, who then later on signed with Rap a Lot after Gangsta Nip did. Gangsta Nip signed first, and then Gangsta Nip kind of was the gateway, and then it was like, oh, don't forget these guys, and it was the terrorists. Well, my brother was really close with the terrorists because they were our best friends. I knew Dopey since I was in junior high as a kid. They were DJs, and we looked up to them like, damn, they're fucking dope. They had a mobile DJ unit. His brother did Deuce. So when he got signed to Rap a Lot, we were in that circle, and I was already kind of rapping, and he was the one who literally, more so than K Reno, I just kind of idolized K Reno and Klondike and everybody else. But Dope E was the one who worked with me word for word, craft for craft, taught me, the ins and outs of, except for, which I held a chip on my shoulder for years. They never taught me the one, though. You know what the one is? You know what the one in the click is? The like the snare, like the count.
Yeah, yeah.
The 1 2 3 4 2 2 3 4 3 2 3 4 4 2 3
Yeah.
4 1 2 3 4,
Yeah.
and you go back to 4. Country and rap are cousins, right? So country and rap use those, but country is a little bit, they're cousins with also rock and roll, so they use the little bridge count, which is like a 2 count to separate. Anyway, rap doesn't use that generally. It's just 4 counts, 8 counts, 16, and everything, right? I didn't learn that until about 2 or 3 years after I was rapping. And when I found that out, I kind of held it. I was like, why didn't y'all, being young and blaming other people, right? Man, y'all never taught me that shit, man. Y'all
That's
some bad.
fucked.
And then when I was young, I took it as a chip on my shoulder, and I was like, y'all some assholes for that.
Yeah.
Because I was writing rhymes, and I sound like a fool. And y'all never corrected me. Like I'm a big sports dude, so I want to be coached. If I'm gonna be a player in the field, I want to be coached. If I'm not a player in the field and I'm part of the coaching system, I know how to coach. But I want to be coached, and I was kind of pissed off at all of them. All of them, y'all suck, And I held a grudge, and I'll never forget it. It was a Gangsta Nip was recording with Rap a Lot at a studio. I was outside doing push-ups and writing rhymes, and I was trying to get on Gangsta Nip's album. I was just showing up every day, all day, and I thought my presence. This is again my young mentality. Like, I'm the coldest Mexican you know. I'm here. Just whenever you're ready, I'll be ready to jump on anything you tell me. Give me this track. I'm ready. I'll knock it out and whatever it is. At that moment, I was in my prime. So I was like any athlete in their prime, right? I was like, fuck it. Give it to me. Knock it out. I'm there.
I'm ready. Put me in.
Oh, you don't like that one? I'll do another one. What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? I'm coming. You ain't gonna stop me. Well, they never asked me to be on the fucking album.
Damn.
And in the middle of that is when I learned the count. So those two kind of gave me a chip. Oh, y'all don't want me on the album. And I had to learn to count by myself. So I walked away from that, and I kind of walked away from the SPC, and I said, I'm gonna do my own album. I'm gonna do my own album. I say it now, but I don't mean it. But I was like, fuck these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do my own shit. And my father believed in my dream, and my grandmother, rest her soul, uh, put money in my shit. Put about 10 grand, and we put out Making It Matter Worse with 10 grand and recorded it in 1 week.
1 week.
Yeah, that's that's a longer story to get to that point, but I was ready for it. But that's fucking with the SPC for years, so I give them all the credit. At the time, I was bitter, a little chip on my shoulder. I wasn't mad at nobody. I was really finding my way, but I can say that now. But at the time, I was like, man, they don't believe in me, you know? Like, what's this? God did. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I felt like it's funny. I say that funnily, we're laughing about it now.
Yeah.
But I was watching that when he, the interview, not when he did it on the MTV, deal. And I was like, I felt that, man. I was like, that was me, bro. That was me as the one of the first Mexican rapper in Texas. And they gave me all that. They made me like, oh, dude, you know what I'm saying? You about to make, you know what I'm saying? Like going to I'm about to get the Heisman. And there was one. No, I didn't get the Heisman. I didn't get the call on the first draft. I didn't get none of that. I was like, I felt like what's his name? When he went to Cleveland, what's his what's the quarterback's name? The white boy. He's in over there with the Panthers. Fuck, I remember he played over here in Texas. Anyway, Haymaker, Baker Mayfield. I felt, looking back and realize, I'm just retrospecting, but when he, and I could relate to him, bro. I was like, yeah, you, but that was me. I fluffed myself. I was like, I'm the motherfucking first Mexican out here. Remember, at that time, there was no Carlos. There was nobody around me.
So you kind of pulled a Soldier Boy.
I did, man. I thought I was like,
he was the first.
I was feeling myself. I was
Yeah.
really feeling myself. And I can say this now because I'm 52 years old and I can look back on myself and like, you was just a fool, bro. You just thought you were full of yourself. Don't get me wrong. There was a plenty of Mexicano rappers because when I first joined the SPC, they made me go battle a handful of Mexican rappers in the neighborhoods. That was like almost my, what do they call it? Probation or my inauguration? No, not initiation. That's the word I'm looking. I'm supposed to be the word guy, but initiation. So that was my thing, and I did. I knocked that out. I knocked out a few. TP Sim was one of them. I love TP Sim because he was one of the. I remember him because why? He was one of the. There was MC Free. There was all these guys at that time, but nobody was on the shelf. That was my drive. That was like, it was a race to the moon, bro. I wanted to be at Sam Goody, at Hastings, on the end caps. I wanted to be the CD, right? Like, okay, you rap in the parks, like we all rap at the park.
Hold on. In case some of you youngsters that are watching, in case you don't know what Sam Goody is, that used to be a record store when we used to go get our music. We didn't have iTunes. We didn't have YouTube. We don't have none of that shit.
Yeah, you had to go to a CD, actual record store.
Hey, we would either go to Sam Goody's or Warehouse Music.
Sound Waves, Sound Warehouse,
Yo.
Hastings. I mean, I can list them because we would go around town, and I had to personally go talk to these people and say, hey, and I worked out a contingency pro with my own CDs for Southwest Wholesale, for Robert Gillerman, for Matt Gammon. All those people, I was the one going out there and say, hey, shake their hand. In those days, it was hand-to-hand combat. You had to literally go meet motherfuckers.
You didn't have your people taking care of it.
No, you did.
Yeah,
but part of the program was just like the president, right? You got to go campaign. You got to go shake hands. You got to go, hey, man, this is my shit. And let me tell you, the Ghetto Boys did that shit. Dr. Dre did that. Snoop, everybody in that era, Easy, all of them. We all did that. The people, before me and after me did that. And that's just the way it was at that time until it went digital. And we already know, and go look at history. Digital is not that old, right? SoundScan was way before digital, right? SoundScan was our savior. Oh shit, they got SoundScan, so it's no longer writing down on a notepad. Like that's how it was before SoundScan. So that's why, they got the old payola and everything. People paid their way. And I won't say that, it's not wrong. Shit. Hey, bro, if I had the money and I was doing what I was doing at that time, I would have did the same. So it's all about competition. That I'm a big sports guy, man. So you want to get in, you want to play in the game with the professionals, you got to have professional game, right? So that's how it was back then. It was cutthroat as a motherfucker. I'm not gonna speak on details, but we all know the Rap a Lot stories. We all know the Dope House stories. We all know the, death row stories and beyond. And I'm not saying anything new, but the beautiful thing about these streams and everything now is that, thank God, artists got, with the Jay-Z's and the titles and all that, people got smart and started owning their own shit. Just like me. I had to re-register my whole catalog. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, man. So anybody out there doing their music, it's not like you don't know now. When I was growing up, we didn't know that shit. Sad as it is, how many years of fucking, shit. And that, you talk about animosity, you talk about this past weekend at Tycoon, man, you want to talk about fighting over some bullshit? Man, what about fighting over motherfuckers taking that you signed with and never paid you? And if I wanted to fight somebody, I got plenty. I got a room full of motherfuckers I could pick at. But growing up the way I grew up, and that's what was sad to see what happened this past weekend, is that I know they're not from my draft class, but they're not far behind. And it's kind of sad to see, like, wow, we haven't changed.
Yeah.
That's what hurt.
We really haven't gone that
That's
far.
what Pimp was saying. Look, I'm going to get emotional. That's what Pimp was saying before he passed. We should respect Pimp. We should respect Screw. We should respect, we should always look at and give our propers for, and our, let them know, man, we're our history, man. And what these people wanted, you can't argue with it. Go back and look what Pimp C's talking about. Go back and look at what Screw's talking about. Go back and look at what, the fundamentals. That's what I call it. I'm a sports guy, man. You can play all the sports you want, man. If you don't know the fundamentals, you will never be a pro. Period. Play the fundamentals, man. Play the fundamentals. Tim Duncan, one of my favorite, and he's a Spur. But that's what I'm saying, man. You gotta get back to your fundamentals, man. So I don't know why I got on that tangent, but it's crazy.
Yeah. So how many albums did you actually do with your brother Shadow before y'all came across SPM?
So I've only done in my life, and now you're making me look funny, but 4 albums. So I got Making It Matter Worse. I got Before My Time. I got The Brown Recluse, and I got Sucker Punch. So those are only 4 albums that I had, and I did Sucker Punch after Dope House. So 3 albums. Really 1 album that I did before. No, wait. Yeah, 1 album that I did solo before Dope House. And that was GRIMM Making It Matter Worse. And that was with Filetto, Balasso, Ike Man, and my brother. Well, Ike Man, I include him because he wasn't rapping at the time or anything. He was my right hand. So he really helped me. At the time, he didn't realize how much he was helping me write. But being with him and all day, and we were just, let's just say we were up to nonsense. And to the nonsense we were up to, and him in my ear, man, right here, man. So he helped me write a lot of the Making It Matter Worse album. Ike Man did. So I always include him in that album and I always told him, man, you gotta write, you gotta be in the album. He didn't rap. I told him to rap ever since Making It Matter Worse, Aggravated, and he didn't rap, I think, until the Most Hated album.
So what, did you see the same thing that your brother's seen in you?
Fuck, that's a good question. Damn, I didn't realize that until you just said that, but I think so. I think Ike Man was the guy that we would listen to Ghetto Boys, and he was putting his name in, you know, I started small time, dope game, cocaine, pushing rocks on the corner, making broke, and he would put his name in the raps of Scarface, or his name in the raps of, whoever. So I was like, dude, you can rap, you just ain't wrote a rhyme yet.
Yeah.
And so he had it, and it's funny because he didn't even start out. He was kind of like the Jay-Z. He wouldn't write his rhymes. He would go in there and rap like 2 or 3 or 4 lines at a time, and then he'd come out, and it'd be like 20 minutes later, and he'd go back in there, or 5 minutes, or 2 minutes, or whatever, and it was like he was freestyling, but not all at once. And that's how he wrote he recorded most of his stuff in the beginning. And then I was like, you got to put that shit on paper, man. Come on, man. In those days, we wrote. So I really wanted him to write. But he was a project of mine. There's another guy that rest in peace, man. That was really a project of mine, was called Shank. And he was probably one of the best freestylers I ever came across. And he was young. And he was around me for a while and would freestyle everywhere I went. I'm not a good freestyler. I can't freestyle for the shit. Matter of fact, when I got with the SPC, you had to freestyle.
Yeah.
And I was horrible. And I got, like, imagine boxing, right? Well, fuck, I got beat up every time, man. I was like, ah. And then I realized, okay, I know what I got to do. I got to have rhymes ready. So you ever heard of Mad Libs? There used to be this old thing when you when you were in elementary and you did the book club, and you would say, okay, I'm gonna get the this book and that book, and you tell your mom, can I get $5?
Oh, you bring up that
and
piece of paper,
that little paper that had all the,
and then on the side it had the
yeah,
order
and
form.
you would just scratch off, I want this one, I want that. Well, they had Mad Libs. This was a Mad Lib, and back then, and what it was they had in Mad Libs, it was like a pamphlet kind of deal, and they had sentences, and they would have noun, adjective, pronoun, and you would fill in the blanks, right? So I wrote my rhymes, and I would have rhymes written, and the ends would be ready, but the middle, I would fill in the blanks. So when I was rapping, I'd be like, look at this fool with the LA cap on. Something, think he got that strap on. Da, da, da. So I already had the ends done, but I would really make it personal at the moment. And I was really good at that. Once I learned that I could write Mad Libs or ad lib, man, I went off. And K Reno, of course, picked it up immediately. Like, man, you got the same rhyme, nigga. You know what I mean? But he's a wizard, right? But he gave me props. He was like, I gotta say something. Always be prepared. Like, he used me as an example. One thing you gotta be is prepared. Never go into a rap unprepared. Like this guy. I couldn't freestyle, but I started my freestyle game kind of, and nobody understood what it was that I was doing until they understood what it was that I was doing. And they were like, this fool's the genius. I would go use that because, freestyling at class and in practice was one thing, right, with the team. But then you go take that to the game, right? And everybody on the team knows what the fuck I'm doing. But when I did it and we went out in public, and I'm like, look at this motherfucker with the crazy ass white shirt. Somebody acts squirt, and they would be like, he got it with the Mad Libs. He got it, And so it was kind of like a game that I played. And even though I didn't have the qualities of I made up for it with preparation. And that's what he was saying, like, dude, always be prepared. Always, like this food right here. And I made up for, and like I said, I didn't get into this shit wanting to be a rapper. My brother fucking threw me in this fucking ocean you know.
He was a visionary.
Yeah, and I didn't. Oh man, I'm a sink, bro. And my brother was like, "Nah, you're an artist, you're a poet, and you got the you." My brother's an introvert. I'm an extrovert, so people wouldn't believe it when you meet my brother. I think I've been around my brother long enough that people. He's more of like he can tell you, but he really can't. He's really, and I tell him all the time, fuck, don't fucking take that shit. Tell these motherfuckers, he's like, I'm not like you, bro. I don't want any problems. I was like, fucking, I like creating problems in certain situations.
Yeah, of
I'm the
course.
same way too. I've miled it out. I'm older, and I'm like, you don't want to, you don't want to poke the bear all the time. I used to like to poke the bear and run. And look, fuck you gonna do? You ain't gonna do shit. You ain't doing shit. And now I'm very precise with it. I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, don't take no shit, dude. Just feel people out, man. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to feel comfortable naked. In your skin. Like all you got is you, and that's it. They might pick you apart. Don't freak out. Motherfuckers are smarter than you. You're not the smartest motherfucker in this world, right?
Yeah. There's always somebody else.
Yeah, somebody's gonna always be able to get a hand on you, but take it with like, yeah, I'm a bad motherfucker though. You can't. My brother can, I love my brother, man, but he's just a genius, man. What it is. You ever been around a prodigy? Somebody who can like do shit that people can do after they went to school forever, and he just picks it up and just does shit, and you're like,
yeah.
And people look at them and be like, the fuck,
man, how the fuck you figure that out?
Yeah, that's my brother. He's and that's with music, and it took him a while to figure that out. Matter of fact, me being the rapper later on, I was like, bro, you realize you're a prodigy, right? He's like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, get the fuck out of here. What the fuck you mean? What the fuck? Bro, you are like, you've never learned a note in music? Nah, I don't read notes. The fuck? And there's a lot of people like that.
No, yeah. I got my partner. I was just telling him before you got here, I have a partner named Gilbert Flores.
Yeah.
And I call him Guillotines. Guillotines on the string.
Right.
Hey.
Same thing.
Motherfucker is cold on that guitar, bro. You know what I'm saying? But
picks it up.
Yeah, exactly. Grabs the guitar and he can hear something. So, okay.
So I told my brother's a really core guy. And I'm a very I'm very I want to know. And I don't want to talk about what I know until I know what I know. Or at least I've looked enough into it to feel comfortable to say outwardly, nah.
Yeah.
So I told my brother, I said, nah, bro, you don't understand. You got Juilliard type, potential, bro. Naturally, you have a gift. I said, Shadow, what you do, I can't do. I can't it's a foreign language. And I'm like, bro, you don't understand. And you pick up this shit and I've watched other people that do this for like a musician, for instance. And then you go in there and do some shit and they're like, how the fuck did this motherfucker just pick up this, whether it be an instrument or even figuring out the technical shit of doing engineering. They're like, dude, have you ever gone to school for the engineering? It's like, nah, but I mean, it just fits right here. I'm like, that's some fucking prodigy shit right there, bro. You ever seen those movies where they see the mathematical yeah, that's my brother, bro. I'm like, that's how you see music, bro. And that's how I see lyrics. That's how I see words. And that's why I get mad when I stumble on, or I should say I beat myself up about stumbling on words, because I'm very precise on words. I've been studying words. When I started rapping, I wasn't studying words until about 3 years later. And I was already rapping for 3 years. Then I realized, oh, I'm a word guy. Then I was like, oh, fuck, I want to know every word and what they mean, even if I use them or not. I just want to know it. And I became one of those guys. So like, I want to know what the fuck every word. And every way you can say this. Wordy, verbose. Like shit like that. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck. And use them. I like getting the reaction when I get raised eyebrows when I say I'm very verbose. What the fuck does that mean? Or people know what that means, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I get I get a kick out of that type of shit. I'm a people watcher. You a people watcher?
Yeah, it's funny cause I got my partner at work, and sometimes he brings his lunch, so I'm like, well, come on, I'll take you down the street to go warm up your lunch, and we'll pull up to a QT or racetrack,
Mm.
and we will post up right there. He'll go inside get his lunch, and I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere. I'm just gonna post up right here, and then that's kind of what we do. Just sit there and people watch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we'll be there for about an hour, and we'll be tripping out of all the shit we see.
Man,
You
that's
know what I mean? So
crazy.
yeah, I mean I can relate to
I'm
that.
big on that. I've always been a people watcher, but so imagine when I started to go on the road, right? And being a people watcher, I was like, oh, this shit's gonna be cool. I'm gonna sit at this airport and watch everybody. Oh man, that used to be my thing, and that's what really was a strong thing between me and my wife, and why our relationship worked in the beginning because we were a long distance relationship, right? I lived in Houston, she lived in Dallas for 2 years. That already was. Imagine if I never even went out of town or anything, just living in Houston and her living in Dallas was already a separation. But I was gone. I was all over the world. I mean, all over the place.
Mhm.
And but what kept us together was a little bit of that. Always the storytelling, always this and that, and me always telling like, man, you won't believe the shit I saw. And she's a people watcher, so we always connected with that shit, and we talk about it still to this day because now when we go out and do date night, right? That's what we do. Like you just said, we sit there and we expect to go out for dinner for an hour. You know,
Yeah.
we'll be sitting somewhere for like 3 fucking hours, man, at a bar. We wind up. Let's fucking just go to the bar. We just ate. Are y'all done for that? Yeah, we'll go ahead and let you flip your table, right? Because we don't want to. They want to turn their tables, right? Hey, y'all got a bar? Oh, he understand. They understand the game, right? Yeah, we'll go to the bar and we would just watch people, and we'll be there for 2 or 3 hours sipping on drinks. We're not trying to get stupid and cracking up on everybody, dude. Especially the special people.
Yeah.
So I have my favorites, but I won't get into detail. But there are certain people.
You know what's a good one to people watch is at Walmart.
Walmart,
Walmart's a
the
good one.
mall, airports, your favorite restaurant, especially when it's a restaurant where you get a lot of different people.
Yeah.
Which is where we go purposely. Bishop Arts, uh, Farmers Market. Let me tell you, in Dallas, you want to know where to go watch people? I'll tell you right now. Farmers Market, before 6 because they close. They close
He said
early.
before 6.
Yeah, yeah. For some reason, they close early. The malls, man, and it's gotten crazy. Like the malls are now flea markets, bazaars.
Yeah.
But it's still a good place to go see people. And anytime you get a chance where they're gonna have like an art, you ever been to the art district where they got the food trucks out there?
Oh yeah.
And they got a Clyde Warren, and when they do the artsy stuff, not because believe me, we were like, oh shit, we could do this every weekend. My wife and I. This is what we do. We go out and watch people. We're gonna go out tomorrow. As a matter of fact, you got any suggestions? We're thinking about the truck yard at Katy. You ever been there?
I
There's a
haven't.
truck yard at Katy
The
Trail.
Katy Trails, yeah.
Yeah, and then we might go to. You ever been to a speakeasy
Mm-mm.
out here? You know what a speakeasy is, right? So speakeasy started in Chicago. I'm a big fucking. You ever been to Chicago? You gotta go. You been to Chicago? You gotta go. It's one of my favorite places. You go to visit and you don't go to live. Okay, but you gotta go. I'm a big. I'm into history. My family's into history, and so I particularly like my history to be. Well, I like geographically history, but in America, I like mafia, mob stories. Like
Oh, yeah.
that's my thing. My brother's a big thing on that. Godfather. So I went to Chicago and I jogged too. I jogged, do 10K, 5Ks. Well, not so much anymore, but when I was younger, when I was on the road, I would go jog. In Chicago, they have an underground city called Emerald City. You ever heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I didn't
Okay.
know it was underground.
It's a real street system. You got to go check it out. So look it up. I don't want to go, spend too much time on that.
Yeah.
But there are speakeasies, and what a speakeasy is, back in the days in Prohibition, there were these places where you had to know the code to get into these places to drink alcohol, right? This is just like before that. Well, now fuck, it's recreational. But
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
when we couldn't smoke weed?
Yeah.
Imagine if there was a spot where you could go smoke
But
weed.
we-
If you knew the code, or you knocked on a certain door, or you went to this phone booth and behind the slap the door left to whatever, you get in, or they slide the door and you say cats and carrots, and you're like, okay, they let you in. That's what they did back in Prohibition days. We're talking Al Capone, right? And you went down into these secret bars and restaurants where they would go and you could drink alcohol and see the shows and all that stuff. Well, they still have those places.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can go to Chicago or New York or anywhere else, but Chicago was prevalent because that's where it kind of, I guess, it started, or that's the origins of those times. And this is in the 30s. This is the 1930s. So I went down there and had to go. Right, I had to go, and it's freaking awesome. And they still play it up like it's the 30s. So you got to go, maybe eat dinner. And then at dinner, you go, what's the code to the speakeasy, and they'll say 2510. And you go down to this old phone booth somewhere in the back of the restaurant, in the back of a room. You go, turn to the left, you look, there's a phone booth. And on the phone, you put the numbers in, a door opens. You're like, what the fuck? And you go back there, and there's a fucking bar.
That's dope.
And a restaurant and everything. And you just go back. And it's really cool. So nowadays, they play it up. And you can do that shit in Dallas. There's La Mina. There's a few places.
Somebody told me not too long ago, I think it was my little cousin, he was telling me, he's like, yeah, bro, I went to this place and it looks like a candy store. And then out of nowhere, they open this secret door,
There you
and
go.
you walk in and there's a club that's popping.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
So
similar shit.
That's the kind of shit. So my wife and I, we like to go. That's what happens when you get older, man. You don't want to go clubbing no more and get shot at. So you go do stuff, adult shit. And another spot is you ever seen a dinner club? You ever been to a dinner club? It's where you go eat dinner and they entertain you, and they have, man, it's dope. You get real entertainment. I mean, you get people playing on the pianos. You get, well, usually there's some chicks swinging on some swings somewhere, and it's
kind of like a saloon type.
It's almost like the old cabaret style, like the original Vegas cabaret. Now, people think cabaret, they think of just strip club.
Yeah,
but no, in the old cabarets, it was a show. With bitches with no bras on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I shouldn't say bitch. I'm sorry. With ladies, with no bras on. But that was the thing, right? And so I've been to a dinner. You got to go check that out. They have them. That's what I love about Dallas, and I'm sure they're all over the place in Texas and Houston. But being out here and hanging out and doing stuff like that, staycations. You ever do the staycation? Look, I'm showing you all the old shit to do when you got a wife and you got a kids and you got families. You go ship your kids off with the family somewhere.
I'm gonna have to call you. I'm gonna have to call you in the weekend. It's like, somewhere. Hey, Grim, let's go.
And what you do is you go get you go to the Omni or you go somewhere else and you act like you flew out of town and went and got a hotel somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're in downtown, and you that way, in case somebody calls and says your kid is throwing up over here, oh well, fuck, you got
okay, I'm on my way.
But so we usually do that in like Grapevine or somewhere else, get out or Airbnb, do some shit like that, but without the kids. Kids are great.
Oh yeah,
they're even greater when they're not around. No, I'm just playing. No.
So one thing I wanted to ask you, so you said earlier, you had said that when you started rapping, like 5 years later, SPM
correct
started rapping.
Yeah.
So how did that go, and or did y'all already know each other? Or?
Oh yeah. We knew SPM. I knew Carlos. We went to the old famous Hartman Middle School, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we were middle school. So this is way before. I didn't start rapping until after high school. So we went to middle school together, and we knew around the same circles. He ran around the same, but we didn't really hang out together. But everybody knew each other, just like, in school, right?
Yeah.
Then later on, after high school, my brother introduced me to the South Park Coalition. He dragged me into this rap world that I didn't want to be a part of at first, and we we put an album out, And once we put this album out, in those days, you had to go to the flea market or what they call out here bazaars, and we would rent a table, or we would go promote everywhere. I mean, I hired, so we would rent a table, sell CDs or sell cassettes, and we were making money that way, and just really trying to promote and make noise for ourselves. After a few years of that, and you know, like I said, people in the neighborhood where you get popular, you start to be like a street celebrity, right? And so everywhere we went, we do car shows. Back in those days, it was car shows. So you imagine doing a car show every weekend, or a flea market, and not just in Houston, San Antonio and Dallas, Traders Village, and this is the markets we were hitting, and we took it as a street business, right? So we went from just making music straight to making money, right? And I don't mean that we were on a label, and that wasn't it. We were making money just hustling, print some CDs up, and I mean legit CDs, not the kind you just put a little print on. I mean, we spent some money and made some legit CDs because we were following the we were looking at Rap a Lot and those and Jive Records and all these people, like, and we were trying to emulate those guys.
Yeah.
So we wanted to put good product out just like the Ghetto Boys were, right? So we found out how to do it.
Yeah.
And we started, instead of, doing what Rap a Lot was doing and putting it in the stores at that time, we were doing it in the bazaar or the flea markets. And then we worked our way into the stores. Well, Carlos saw that shit, and after a few years, he said, "Man, I'm start rapping."
Was that at the Blue?
Here's the story. His story is he saw something on TV, and I don't know the details, but it said rap on TV.
Uh-huh.
And when he saw that on TV, it was like a message to him that he was supposed to rap. He was supposed to be a rapper or whatever. And I don't know the details of it, but it's kind of like that kind of a thing where you can imagine you watching TV, like, oh, rap, whatever he saw, it made him feel like that's you. You need to do that.
Yeah.
So shortly after that, he catches up to me at a Circle K, and then we drove from the Circle K to in front of my house.
Mm-hmm.
And he's telling me that whole story about I'm gonna be a rapper now, and I'm gonna start making music. And he already had a song, but it wasn't anything that we'd ever heard, like anybody else has heard since. He showed me a song. Now here's the funny thing. He showed me a song, and this is the truth. This is my opinion. This is my recollection. You know how I said earlier.
Yeah.
This is my memory of it. So he comes and shows me a song, right? And when I heard it, he kind of sounded like, at that time, like 3-2, and like more of like the Really Though, bitches ain't shit, which, by the way, that's a 3-2 thing, not a Snoop, the whole we don't love them hoes.
Yeah.
That's 3-2, bro. Just so y'all know. Right now I'm letting y'all know that's 3-2, and that whole thing that Snoop had at that time, that's all, like I said, 3-2. Well, that's what kind of like Carlos sounded like. Really though. And they don't love these hoes and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, it's cool. You rapping. I like it. Because he was asking me. So one thing about my brother and I, we were about criticism.
Yeah.
Straight constructive criticism. And whether you can take it or not. And we've always learned from my parents to take it. I'm going to tell you, you might not like it. The truth hurts, right? So I was telling him straight up. I said, man, that's cool. You doing your shit. But I remember telling him, you sound like so-and-so. You sound like 3-2. You sound like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And what SPC showed me, and the reason why I stopped listening to rap and stopped listening while I write, is so that I'm not influenced by that. don't get me wrong, I love rap music, especially I'm a rapper. But when I'm writing, I try to separate myself from that. And I'm gonna be honest, you sound like that, bro. Maybe a month, 2 months later, we're at Boomerang, all right, and we're outside, and 97.9 the box. It's the beat here, right?
Yeah.
97.9. I forget all the time. I get it mixed up. The box, and they had a simulcast that was outside. So it had the van out there, and I forget who was the host of it. But he would be out there and say, "Oh, we over here at the Boomerang, you know what I'm saying? It's going down at the club, whatever." And we used to show up. We used to drive out there and be with that dude. Man, we gonna act like, and he would love it. Oh, act like there's people out here. Oh, we out here doing crazy, and he would let us do spit rhymes and sometimes just to act like it was crunk
Yeah.
outside. Well, Carlos showed up one night to the Boomer at you know what I'm saying. So he comes in, gets on the radio. We all go, and that night he shows us "My Revenge." You ever heard of that song?
Yeah.
It's my revenge. It's bro. I say, bro. When I heard that, and I was like, who is who's that? Nigga, that's me, nigga. and I'm like, wait, play it again, and it's the whole nasal, right?
Yeah.
I was like, that's you, bro. He was like, nigga, that's me. And he started playing the other song. It's kind of before he put it out. This is like mixed. It hadn't been mixed enough. I said, that's it, bro. That whatever that is,
That's it.
that's you, bro. He's like, I said, bro, that's so different. I there Nah, you gotta understand, I don't think there was even Cypress Hill at that time. So with what Be Real does, it's the same kind of the same thing. So I don't even think Cypress Hill was out at that. And if they were, it was still so distinct. I was like, bro, ain't nobody doing that. I said, bro, you got something right there. And like, yeah, you think so? I said, bro. So he did Hustle Town, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next album, no, not Hustle Town. That was Hillwood. The next album was Hustle Town. That was it. Once he dropped Hustle Town, he commanded Houston. Now remember, I was the first rapper living on a cloud. like I put my shit on the shelf, right? I'm riding. He's asking me what I got to do to get on, the bazaars or the fleet to make money, right? I'm making money. I'm street good, you know what I'm saying? And I'm selling dope. I'm selling weed. I'm happy. I'm I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was like at that time in the future, I would relate it to like 50 Cent. There was a moment before 50 Cent came out when anybody in New York or anywhere could put something out. And it was like, you good. You just, do your shit. You handle your shit. You gonna make. When 50 Cent came out, remember Ja Rule was running shit.
Oh yeah.
What happened?
Blew my water.
Do y'all remember 50 Cent's mixtapes before he dropped? Go back and look at go back. If y'all don't know why Ja Rule fell off the way he did, single-handedly by 50 Cent, that's what I'm saying. I'm a wealth of experience and knowledge, bro. I've been watching and doing this shit because of my brother for 30, 40, 30 plus years, 40, 35 plus years. Fleto, all of us. Go look at what 50 Cent was doing with his mixtapes before he dropped Wankster. Because when he dropped Wankster, and that was before In the Club.
Yeah.
Check it out, bro. Go look. But the shit he was dropping before Wankster, he was hitting everybody in the industry. He made everybody go look. I can't even I don't like doing it's like Bible verses.
Yeah.
You can't quote the verse if you don't know the verse.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
want to be quoting verses. But I'm telling you, go look and listen to the shit he was saying on his mixtapes about everybody in the industry. And he was fucking everybody. I'm glad I wasn't out in the industry at that time. And that's what happened. Because when he went legit nationwide, or we want to call it a commercial, and let me tell you, they talk about the Illuminati and this and that narrative and everything. A lot of that's true and a lot of that's fake. So just take that for what I just said. Right? That's Illuminati in the sentence, in the phrase. A lot of that shit's true. A lot of that shit's fake.
Yeah.
Okay. Bro, did he live by a narrative? I don't think so. I think he lived by 50 fucking cent. And that was an inspiration to me because remember, at that time, I don't know if anybody gave a fuck. And the reason why I only bring that shit up is because it was prevalent. It was a very big deal kind of in our industries. People were looking at people going, you got to do this to be that. And when I saw 50 Cent do what he did, I was like, nah, no, you don't. Because if that's the narrative, the only thing I can say about that would be that they were getting so far away from Public Enemy and that whole shit. The message, that's my scary shit. Is like I didn't like the way the industry got away from that. The knowledge.
Yeah.
The brand Nubian, bro.
The origin,
Tribe Called
where
Quest,
it all originated from.
Public Enemy, message. Okay, you want to back your ass up, cool. But backdoor that shit with a message, and that's what the radio and everything. Let me tell you, I'm telling you, I'm just saying this because, and I don't give a fuck if I'm canceled or not. But I saw it. I walked around. I went around with behind somebody else, not me, Bash, or somebody else going in those rooms with the radio and the other people. I watched what they're programming and what's out there, and it's been what it is now. It was like, how you get a mosquito bite. You know what I'm saying? You think it's a mosquito bite, and then you realize, oh shit, maybe it's a spider bite. Oh fuck, what the fuck? And then it gets so big, you're like, what the fuck is this? It like, what happened? It's not even. And then you go to the doctor, and they're like, oh no, that's cancer. They're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's what music I've watched happen.
Yeah.
Same fucking thing. It looked like a mosquito bite. Less message, more of this bullshit. Now it's all the bullshit, no message.
Yeah.
And that's kind of sad to me, bro. That's why I think we're at where we're at. I'm gonna go back to this weekend, but we've lost our way. And that's why, have you seen that meme with Pimp C on the fence?
No, actually I haven't seen it.
Oh man, he's looking disgusted, right? And it's like Pimp C from the gates of heaven looking down.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I see that, yeah.
They whoever did that, they caught it in a nutshell. I'm like, that's it. I'm just saying this because I knew Pimp. I know him. I talked to Pimp. We talked to Screw, man. Being from where I'm from, and I feel like if you were from Dallas and there's anybody else in that circles that happened to. That's just how Houston is, man. We overcame some shit. We were fucked up. We didn't care about each other. And all of a sudden, look at what Bum B did at the rodeo this past year. Come on, man. You gonna pull that shit off in Dallas? Who's gonna pull that shit off in Dallas? And I'm not talking down on Dallas.
Yeah.
I'm just speaking facts.
No, it is.
I wish in the minds of Cedric. I wish we could do that. I wish we could see that. Because now I feel like, even though I'm a Houstonian at heart and to the root and to the bone, I've been here long enough. I feel the Dallasites. I really do, man. I'm not a Cowboys fan, but I would like y'all to, at least win a game in the postseason. Goddamn, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shit, I live here.
Yeah, be careful what you wish for. It might happen.
Nah, look, man, y'all doing better than these Texans everywhere. They got the worst culture in the. Hey, I look up to the Cowboys, and meaning in what I'm saying, relating it to the rap thing and everything. Hey, look, the Cowboys are looking like the Houston rap. They got more culture in the Cowboys. Now, they need some coaching, and they need some, need to stop making penalties. That's discipline, by the way. That's discipline. We don't even got a culture in the Texans, and that's kind of like how Dallas rap is. There's no culture. And it's sad because KNON for years been trying
Yeah.
to hold the string together, but to no avail. It seems like, and it's just somebody talking loud in the room. When is it ever gonna happen? Like when these motherfuckers realize we can all eat. You know that, right? We can all eat. Look what they're doing in Houston right now. I'm missing out on Tycoon. 50 Cent bought a house in Houston. What does that tell you? Well, for one, Texas doesn't have any state tax. That would definitely bring anybody from outside of Texas who's spending all this money, on shit. So they
Yeah.
got money, that kind of money. So that's why I say he bought a house, but he didn't buy a house in Dallas,
Nope.
right?
Yep. You're right.
And why? Because in his world, that's where it's at. That's where the unity's at. That's where they asked him about what happened this past week, and he said, "Who?" But I don't think he meant who like that.
Yeah.
I think he meant like, I'm not gonna. That's his way of saying I don't talk on that. I don't speak on that shit. You know,
None of my business type.
it's none of his business. He's from New York. He's from.
Yeah.
You feel me? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and
You
and
can't
he's-
speak on Houston.
that was very
still
smart for
yeah.
him in a very clever and player and gangster mobbish ass way to say, "Ooh, that's some New York type shit." That's where we need to get to. And get to that level where it's like, come on, man. We don't speak on we don't even talk about nonsense. We get into it because why? Because it's like, what the fuck? I thought they were brothers.
Yeah.
But they are. That's what people don't miss nowadays. They're so involved in the sensational. Did you see that shit? My brother called me. Did you see that shit? I was like, yeah, I thought about it, man. Looks like us. He's like, you're right. Like on our show. My brother and I, we have a show at the same time you have a show every Wednesday.
Yeah.
On Instagram. So it's kind of hard. I only get to catch the second half of your show, because we stop at 8.
Yeah.
But I go back and look at your show, and I really dig what you're doing, man. And I told you that last time where we were at. It takes people like you, and that's why we had you on our show. It like I said, man, you're innovating. You're even though you're not the first, but you're the first. You know what I'm saying? Because believe me, people are going to come after you, behind you, and I mean in our circles.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to be like, oh shit, if he can do it, I could do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're proving even to me and my brother, because we want to do a podcast. We've been sitting on it and everything. And I always point to you. I'm like, man, this dude now he's doing it on his own. My brother's like, oh, we can't do it. I was like, bro, well, we're out of town. Oh. I said, man, you sound like, I won't say who. I was almost said who. You sound like somebody else you've been hanging around with for the past 6-7 months.
Yeah.
That he's not with no more. I said, you can't sound like that dude no more. You got to be like, what's next?
Yeah.
So I applaud you, bro.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Especially, coming from you, man. You know what I mean? You have a lot of accolades under your belt, man. And like I said, you were there when the whole Dope House, began and took off.
Yeah, man. That's Carlos and his family. That's a beautiful thing. If he would have did anything you would have thrown at him and his family, they would have made it an empire like they did with rap. So if he would have been a fashion designer, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if he would have been into what I was just listening, because my brother, I was cracking up. I was telling the Shadow, I said, man, you were this close to being a freestyle producer. you know, what is it? What's the freestyle? Money B and all that. That's all my brother.
So the land hip hop era,
Bro. So
Little Susie.
But my brother was a breakdancer. I said, that's the one thing that saved you, Shadow. Because my brother's when he's married and he's happily married now and everything. But when he was a kid, he was girl crazy. And the ladies do. And you know those songs.
Yeah,
That's what the girls like, So that was Shadow. I was like, Shadow, if you weren't a breakdancer, like hip hop,
yeah,
You would have been a freestyle. You would have been a freestyle producer all day, dog. You would still be trying to be. You would try to be bringing freestyle back right now.
Yeah.
He's like, "You right, dog. I ain't gonna lie, you right." I said, "Bro," we were laughing, we were cracking up about that shit recently. I said, "You would have never been with Carlos. You would have been with like Angelina and
Little Susie,
and
producer High Record with Stevie B.
Stevie B. You would have been all on that." I said, "Shadow, you would have tried to dance. You would have tried to been a rap. You would have tried to." He would have found Auto-Tune before Auto-Tune was Auto-Tune.
Oh man.
That's funny shit. Let Shadow see this too, because don't lie, Shadow.
Yeah, so so basically it was all three of y'all that kind of you could say, I mean, created Dope House, right?
Well, like I said, so we were doing rap before. Carlos came and asked, hey, whatever. But like I said, man, him and his family could sell. They were selling everything out of that warehouse. They had that warehouse already, and they were selling phone books and clothes, and I mean, they were any get rich money quick motherfuckers is what they were. Their family, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, like, God dang, everything they touched was literally ghetto gold, man. I'm serious. So for him to get into music, I'm talking about SPM, Carlos. For him to get into music and the way we sold music, which I was a dope dealer, right? So we sold music like it was dope. That's why he has the slogan, dope sells itself, right? Because he was a crack child. He sold dope. We also, that's how we all came up, right? And not by any, because we wanted to. It was just a product of the environment, right?
Yeah.
My brother wasn't a dope seller, right? He couldn't sell dope for his life, man. Trust me, we tried. But so and he was a product of, like I said, so when he caught on to what we were doing, and he took that formula, basically, this is how you do it. Press some shit. Da 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 da. Him and his family ran off with it and went crazy. Within a year, they were beyond, right? And then a year later, him and his brother, from what I understand, go and meet up with Universal, and the rest is history. They get 5 million, 4.5, almost $5 million. I mean, to a guy or us or you or anybody else, give yourself $5 million now. Forget back when $5 million was worth $5 million.
Yeah.
Now, give yourself $5 million now. What would you do, right? With what you have.
Yeah.
Right? Where would you be, right? You build an empire.
Of course.
Correct. Because that's the type of person you are. Well, imagine Carlos, he's like that. And his family were that times 10. His sister, I mean, before you knew it, dude, they were at every show. Every car show. Now, this is a car show circuit. Car shows aren't what they were then. But back then, car shows was the way to get around.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And that was one vehicle. We were doing, like I said, the flea markets and everything else in between. Right. But the car shows were the circuit. And I don't mean just lowrider. I mean any car show that came around that went around the state. She was on top of all that. We were trying to catch up. And we were doing great. But then they come and it's like, oh man, dude, we gotta go to every car show. What? Heat Wave, low ride. And we had to do, because that's what they were doing. And it was just hard. It was just, and then he came with Hustle Town. It was over. It was, he used the same formula, but amplified it. And, we look back, we laugh, and my brother, and he might even laugh and say, everybody's going to say that, like I said, this is my history. This is my memory.
Interpretation.
Right?
Yeah.
And he might say, there's always three sides of the story, right? Your side, my side, and the truth. So he might say, no. But yeah, man, he came to me, Circle K. Don't lie. He didn't come to me at Circle K and tell me you were going to start rhyming. And how do you do this shit? This is what, and I just opened my book because, again, like I said earlier, we weren't so focused on the money then. We were focused on, we want to do this shit and there's not enough Mexicans doing this shit. So we really wanted the company, but we didn't. And nothing against, it's not like, oh man, black guys everywhere we go.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't the feeling. We loved it. We wanted to be in the community. We wanted to be, but we also wanted more of me in the community, right? We
Yeah.
wanted, and there's other Mexicans that are doing this shit, but they're just not here all the time. They're just not. Well, shit, we're gonna try to do, and that's why when Carlos said he wanted to rap, we're like, fuck yeah. And so wanted to do, fuck yeah, let's do it. But on the level like we were doing it, because there were Mexican rappers, but who's gonna put an album out? Carlos came to me and said, I want to fucking press a CD like you're doing. Well, I learned this from the SPC, right?
Yeah.
So I just thought of everything I learned from the SPC. I showed it to him. Only like I said, this fool took it to the. Well, look at him.
Yeah.
Right. Proud of him, man. I mean, to this day, like I said, my brother and him are going through downs right now. They're going through valleys, but I will never turn. And my brother's the same way. Always looking up for our brothers, man.
Yeah.
We might disagree. I always use this scenario. You think everybody on the Cowboys, like on the line, right? They're all lined up, ready to take a snap, and everybody on that line. You think all 4 or 5 of those guys love each other or like each other? Maybe not. There's probably 2 guys standing in the line, ready to snap the ball next to each other, guard, tackle.
Yeah.
Hate each other, can't stand each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, they're professionals, and the thing is, you play for an organization, which is the Cowboys, and the thing is, when the center snaps that ball, you do your fucking job, and we all work together to be champ. To make a first down, to win the game, to be champions, right? So you can agree to disagree. You can hate each other. You can even downright fucking hate each other. Can't stand the sight of each other. But when the fucking ball is on the fucking line and the clock is going and you snap the ball, you're going to block for that dude, right?
Of course.
And that's the thing about this whole thing with what happened this past weekend with Trey and them. Bro, they're on the same team. Regardless, even though they don't play together, they've been on the same team for years. Just like me and Filetto. Just like me and Ike Man. Just like me and Lord Loco. Me and Lord Loco had 2 fights. I had a fight with Troublemaker. Fists. That's why I say, if there were phones then, they'd be saying, "Oh, and I tell Troublemaker when I see him to this day, we have a saying that we say in my circles. When we hang up with each other, we say, "I love you," man to man. I know I'm not your girlfriend or your wife, but when I know you and I say, and we talk to each other, I'm say, just like I tell my brother, "Hey, Trub, I love you, man. I love you." We always do that. And that's been something we started a long time ago. And I think they have those same things, even though it's unspoken and it's not said. That's what I know. And that's why I reacted the way I did when you showed me those videos. Because I'm like, these people are family, bro. This goes deeper than us, watching this shit,
Yeah.
And that's why I say, even with Carlos, like I said, my brother and Carlos are going through differences at this time, at this moment. What is it? September the 2nd. Let's just mark this memory. They're going through it, right? But they agree to disagree, man. They're gonna come down the line. They're gonna get down the line, and and hopefully be on speaking terms.
Yeah. So did your brother start producing after Hustletown or?
No, he was producing before Hustletown. Hustletown, like I said, you mean
For SPM.
For SPM?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. Damn. That's a shadow question. But probably around that time. Because I know Filetto was. Filetto's on the album.
Yeah.
So it just makes sense that if Filetto was recording or making music or whatever, Shadow's always been in the background. Like I said, I started rapping because of Shadow. So they say I'm the first Mexican rapper in Texas. Well, I wasn't the first Mexican rapper if it wasn't for Shadow. So who started it? Shadow started it, right?
So yeah, Grim, I kind of wanted to ask you about how did the whole, meeting Baby Bash and all that take place?
Bash. Oh, wow, that's crazy. That's before 2000. That's crazy. Us 98, 99, 98. Bash. Okay, so Bash was in a group called Latino Velvet with Kid Frost, right? Kid Frost, Baby Bash, JT from you remember that song Da-na-na-na-na, Back to the
Was
Hotel?
it JT Money?
Yeah, JT Money, no. JT was in a group called Into Deep.
Okay, yeah.
And then there was Cisco. So Bash, Kid Frost, JT, and Cisco were in a group called Latino Velvet. SPM used to invite, from what my recollection, SPM used to invite Kid Frost down to all the car shows, right? And like I said, Kid Frost was in a group at the time, Latino Velvet. So one of the times that Kid Frost came down, he brought Bash. Bash was Baby Beesh at the time. Baby Beesh was his name. So he comes down with Frost, and he comes out of the dope house and at the studio, and we're there and we're working, and me and Bash clicked. Like the chemistry was automatic from day one. From day one. So before you know it, time passes. He comes back and forth. He finally starts and says, "I'm gonna stay in Houston." Well, when he came to stay in Houston, we stayed at this apartment. It was like 8 of us. Happy P. This was all these dope house cats. Rashid was in there. Lil G was there sometimes. I was there. There was about 8 of us that lived in this one 2-bedroom apartment in Southwest Houston. But that's when Bash literally moved from Vallejo, California, to Houston. And then after that, we moved into a house in North Houston. But I say that to say this: we became really close at that time, and then in between all that is when Carlos got he got convicted and went to prison. So obviously I'm skipping a lot of shit, right? There was years between him and bonding, and we're talking about Wiggy Wiggy and all that stuff.
Because he did a lot of ghostwriting for SP, right?
Oh yeah, he did he wrote Wiggy Wiggy, the hook, and they would collaborate together, right?
Of course.
But Bash had a lot of influence on a lot of the what is it? The Third Wish album, right? All that stuff. So we lived together. We moved into a house together, and then we wound up getting into an apartment together. And then by 2000 or whatever, when Carlos got got sentenced to prison, Universal came after Bash and was ready to give him a deal, and so they did. And like I said, we were roommates living in an apartment together, and that's when Bash was like, "All right, I got to deal with," and they gave me some bonus money or whatever, and gave him some, and they were gonna take him on. He had it because he was a great writer, and so he wrote some good songs, and it was Sugar Sugar. That's what it was. He wrote a song with Sugar Sugar, and he got Frankie J to sing the hook, and that song blew the fuck up, and that's what got Universal involved. He signed a deal with Universal. And we were roommates, and he was like, "All right, we're going on the road. I mean, I need a hype man," and that's what happened. So it started with me and Bash going on the road together, and immediately we were out of the country. I thought, "Oh, we're gonna go on the road. Cool. Where we're going? New York, Miami, Florida, Cali, and Germany. Fuck." So and that was like that's when at that moment I realized, because I'm skipping a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But at that moment I realized, oh shit, like this is the next. Even beyond what we were doing with Carlos, because what we were doing with Carlos was the next, right?
Yeah.
Going all over the country, meeting all over a bunch of people. So I get with Bash. We go to Germany and everywhere else in between the countries, here and all over the states. And we got a little old. We need more. I'm one hype guy, and I can only handle one side of the stage. And that's when we get Angel Deesky. And Bash knew him from the Bay Area. Angel's a Samoan. I'm Mexican, American, and he's Samoan, right? He was born in Hawaii. So, and he's from the Bay Area, so they can relate to each other from the Bay.
Yeah.
So I get to meet Angel, and now we got 2 guys hyping, right? And early on, Bash start to call because they got I don't know if you've ever heard of the Bay Area has a really cool wordplay. I love the Bay Area. They're really a lot like Houston as far as the culture is, but their wordplay and the way they talk is different, right? Obviously. And I love their wordplay. One of my favorite rapper out of the Bay Area is Andre Nicotina. So go look him up. He's just the shit to me, and he's been out there forever. You could say Mac Dre. Everybody loves of course you got E40, right? And well, out of the clique, my favorite was Be Legit, right? Even before I knew before I met E40, because I met these guys through Bash, Too Short, all through Bash, right? That's the Bay Area. And so Angel comes and he comes into the group and he's automatic Bay
all the way.
the feeling, right? He's just Bay. I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to hold down. Now I feel like I have a responsibility to hold down the South, right? I'm like, I was winging it by myself, hyping, and I'm like, what I'm saying, the South, nigga. Here comes this dude, and they're very, if you've ever been to the Bay, they're very flamboyant, extravagant, whatever the word you want to use. Yeah. They're out there. You know what I'm saying? They're extroverts. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's Angel, man. He's just commanding the stage. I'm like, oh man. So I had to kind of learn from him. Like, I want to do what he's doing, right? And then after that, well, Bash started calling us on the road everywhere we went. He's like, this is Stewie Brothers, Stewie number 1, Stewie number 2, and Angel was, man, I was the first hype guy, but how did he become Stewie number 1, man?
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. But it was because of his candor and because of his body language, man. He just commanded. And that's what you need in a hype guy, right? Because Bash he was really good at laid back. I'm going to do my little, I'm going to look good and rap cool, But you had to have somebody who was extra, like, come on, everybody.
Yeah.
Bash don't want to do all that. So, and I was I didn't realize that's what I had to do until I saw this guy. I was like, oh, that's what we doing? And I'd already been doing it for a while. So I learned a lot from Angel. And then, so we were the Stewie Brothers, right? Stewie number 1, Stewie number 2. And then out of nowhere, Angel's like, man, we need to create a group. Along with Bash, right? We're doing.
Yeah.
And I had already been a part of Aggravated, The Most Hated, Lone Star Riders, and now he wants to make another. We got to come up with a group, and I'm like, oh, but when he came up with the group, though, he never brought it up until he had mentioned. He goes, I got a cousin. I'm like,
yeah,
you got a cousin? I ain't never heard of your cousin. Out of the year and a half we've been running around. I'd say all your cousins are your cousins. I thought they were your brothers because if you know Polynesians, they're like they're brothers, they're uncles, and they're all sisters and brothers. Even though they're cousins and aunts and uncles.
I mean, that's kind of how they greet them. So was some brother, right?
Right. So I got a cousin. Well, it was Rich Rap, right? And he said before I say anything, I just want you to hear his song. So he played the song. And I was like, bro, who is this dude? He was on the net. To me, I'm a rapper, right? I'm a wordplay. I'm a lyricist.
Yeah.
And I've heard of K Reno. To me is the best rapper in all the world ever, all time. K Reno, right? If you don't know who K Reno is, look him up. That's the beautiful thing about Google that motherfucker. So check him out. And listen to his shit, right? This dude's got volumes and his catalog. But that's who I grew up. That's my mentor, my sensei. We're really dope. But K Reno. So when I heard Rich Rap, on a whole nother level, not nowhere near the K Reno level, but I was like, the wordplay from this cat, like, what? He said this, he said that. Like, why did I think of that? Like, I never thought of that. Like, who is this dude? He's like, that's my brother. I'm like, you lying. That ain't your brother. He's like, you're right, man. He's Filipino. I was like,
He's like, you're right.
He's like half Mexican,
It
half
came out.
Filipino. I was like, I'm Mexican and you're Polynesian. So I said, well, what is it? What we going to? I said, man, we got to have, so we're starting a group? And he's like, yeah, we start. All right, what is it? And he goes, before I could get a word out, like, what are we going to, he's like, we're the Stewie Brothers. I was like, of course.
Of course.
So, and it was Stewie number 1, Stewie number 2, and he was Stewie number 3. And it's been like that ever since. And I will say, I will give Bash the credit for naming the group. But as far as the dynamic of the group and what we became, and you got to go Google it. Go look at the Stewie Brothers. Like, like I said, I've been in 4 groups. Aggravated, the most hated. Lone Star Riders, bro. That's a big one. And the Stewie Brothers. Aggravated, the most hated, you would think. I've got some friends of mine that are like, they're hurt. Because I always say this, and I will say this to this day. My favorite group that I was ever in is the Stewie Brothers. It don't even come close. For a lot of reasons. But I do have friends that were in the other groups. They're like, come on. More than the most hated or more than aggravated,
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, those groups were epic, man. I mean, there's history and there's feelings and emotions that go with those groups that the Stewies or any other Lone Star will never compare to. But they asked me,
Yeah.
who, bro?
Nah, man, but y'all could see it in y'all's music. Y'all's chemistry would come out. You know what I mean? Through them speakers, through the TV when you watch his videos.
Smoke in my eye, and I on to the morning, noon, and night, and I gotta leave it alone, bro. The Stewie Brothers, go look at that shit. Slap your mama, slap yourself, slap your mama. Bro, we used to have what was it, Doing and Moving, the first album we did, Stewie's. These were all mixtapes.
Yeah. So is there a Stewie Brothers
reunion
album coming out?
I wish, that's funny. I talked to Angel. Angel lives in Dallas, right? Rich Rapper still lives in Vallejo. I mean, still lives in the Bay Area.
Yeah, I was telling you, I ran into Angel the other day at Walmart. I was at
Believe it or
Walmart.
not, I'm telling you.
Hey, I'm over here checking out, and then I just turned right, and I was like, "Oh shit, Angel, what's up?" And he was a little far away, and he's like, "Elms, hey, what's up?" And then I was like, "So what's up? When you coming out Elm Street?" And he's like, "I don't know. You tell me."
He's got to tell me.
Hey, then he told me he's like, as a man. I was like, well, I can't get in touch with Rich. I was like, I don't know him. I was like, Grimm, yeah, I can call him up, but Rich, I have no communication with him.
Right.
So I'll leave it up to you. You could arrange that. And then he was like, perfect. He'll be in town here pretty soon.
Well, he's still, so he's the last. It's funny. I started Hype Bash, right? And then here comes Angel. Then we did it for a while. And then of course the third, part of it was Rich. And we were always the Hype, which is crazy to have. I gotta give Bash a lot of credit and love for the way he did us, because he didn't have to have 2 hype men. Right? I think he wanted bookends. But then to add a third, like, it's kind of like three's a crowd, right?
Yeah.
Almost never was the situation with the Stewies, because we knew how, it just kind of, we knew how to move around. And it was really cool, because I really fascinated watching these guys, because they're more of I'm kind of like the OG, the old guy, and I learned a lot from those cats. And it really worked with 3 hype men, and which is rare, because we went on the road, and like I said, we're running around with Bash, so we're everywhere. We're out of the country. We did one of my favorite gigs that I did. It's funny. My friends asked me, "What's the most memorable, favorite, show you ever did, ever?" And I always point to Bash had us tied in with the USO, and we went to Iraq. and we did 6 shows in 7 days at different camps. But the whole thing was we performed for the troops. It's kind of like I'm old, right? I say that a lot. My wife says, "You're not old," but I'm from the other generation, right?
Yeah,
Bob
yeah.
Hope, you go perform for the troops, the old Bob Hope shit.
Yeah.
I remember that shit, right? And it was a big deal. And my grandfather, my dad's dad, was a gunner, in the Second World War, and I took care of him in his later days. And he used to tell me all kinds of war stories and everything. So when I got the opportunity to go perform for the troops in Iraq with Bash, uh, and being privy to all the knowledge that the military taught us, at that time, what was going on at that time, like, oh shit, this is really what the fuck's going on. Like,
Yeah.
I took that in, and it became like, wow. I will never forget it, and it was one of the most important and most special times in my life to be able to do that. You gotta understand, we would do shows and we would be at a camp and you would see people, and then you would see people from Texas and they were like, oh, Baby Asher, I'm from San Antonio. Man, I've been, how long you been here, bro? I've been here for a year and a half, bro. I said, bro, when you get back to Texas, man, come holler at us. We're gonna be at the next shows. Man, I've been to your shows. And man, when you're halfway around the world and these people are fighting for our liberties, and to see that, I mean,
Yeah.
to really engage that in their face, in their eyes,
Yeah.
and to get the hugs, and man, it's so good to feel Texas. You know what I mean? When you
Yeah.
got those hugs, bro, is what made it special for me.
Yeah.
But here's the funny shit. I got my boy Ike, man. I always bring it up. Man, that's the shit. Those are my favorite shows. Not the Playboy Mansion, nigga. What the fuck? Bro, you did the Playboy Mansion on New Year's. You got paid to go to to perform at the play. Hef is gone, bro. And you were there and you met the man, and he thinks that should be my most
we
memorable,
yeah.
which I did, right? We
Yeah,
went
of
to
course.
Bash one year. I don't remember what year it was. We did the fucking Playboy Mansion on New. We got paid to perform at midnight. We were doing oh no swalla la la la,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And of course, that was a very memorable moment in my
Yeah.
life, and performing, and being this guy, this Mexican rapper from Texas who started with the SPC back in '89, dude. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? 80, to wind up, and to be there, right?
Yeah.
Playboy Mansion and my boy Ike, man. Nah, man, come on, man. Not Iraq, bro.
Yeah.
The mansion, food. I'm like, nah, that's a good one, bro. I got
Yeah.
Chicago. I got other places that we were at, and I've seen and I met people, and
That's dope.
it's so beautiful to be around and see and be in the same room with some of these cats.
Yeah.
And I never, I wish I would have been that guy to be like, hey, let me take a photo. I wish I would have been that guy, but I wasn't. We went to Regis. I did it Regis with Bash. We did Kelly and Regis, right?
Oh, okay.
And everybody's like, oh man, and there's footage of it, right? That's the coldest, it's the coolest, man. That's not the one. I was like, no. You know what I remember about doing Regis? I met Poppy. I met Big Poppy. I'm a sports fan.
Yeah, okay.
And so I met Ortiz, right? And that's all I can remember from that day. It was that I got one-on-one time. He passed by and what the hell? Is that Big Pop? Oh, I went and looked outside. I said, Bash, bro, you won't believe who's doing the show with us. He's like, no way. And he came in and I was
That's
like,
dope.
I was so starstruck. He was like, he came, I guess he was like, I'm gonna go talk to these guys. And then he realized we're from Texas. And he was like, he was so genuine. And I was like, and did I take a picture? No. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was me, man. I was so stuck in it. I've met them all, man. 840, I've met. I've seen him a lot of times, but you've met so many people, and you get stuck in the moment, man. And
oh yeah, sometimes You know, well, we come from, this is new to me. You know what I mean? The era with the cell phone.
Like,
you know what I mean?
you see exactly. You see people, and you're face to face with them, and you forget. Oh, damn! Go home, babe. I saw so and so. Did you get a picture? No.
No.
The hell you good for, man? You ain't get a picture. But
Yeah.
hey, I'm from the old school, and I like when I first started rapping, I thought it was a big deal that Jay Prince wanted to sign me. That was at that time that was a big deal. You know, Jay Prince, I'm gonna shoot you a contract. Oh, okay, cool. And I probably would have signed it like anybody else when he first gave it to me, right then and there. All right, cool. I'm gonna rap a lot. But my dad's a lawyer, so I said, I'm gonna go show this to my daddy. I think it fucked him up, a little bit. Oh, okay. I'll be back. And then I took it back to him, and I said, the first con, I said, no, my dad said, there's nothing in this for me. So I'm going to have to respectfully decline. He goes, oh, no, I'll get you another contract. And he did. It was the same.
Wow.
So I said, hey, I don't know if it's a mistake or anything, but this is exactly the same. No way, whether he's playing the game or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably was, and I wouldn't blame him for anything. Not knowing what I know now, I would have probably did the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So he hit me with a third one, man. It was different, a little different, but still, I went back to my dad, and my dad was like, "It's not enough." Well, what I think now, looking back in retrospect, I should have signed it, and I wanted what people want now, but there was just no way to get. I wanted everything. I wanted my own copyright. I wanted my name. He would have taken GRIMM. He would have owned GRIMM. I would have signed that away. So I look back and I say, I didn't sign with him, and it was respectfully. I would hope that he would think, no animosity. I don't think there ever was. I think he was like, another guy that.
Yeah.
But it was a big moment in my life, and that's when after that, we made Making It Matter worse.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I mean, if that wouldn't happen, you wouldn't probably not gone and seen everything you've seen.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So
no, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, of
You're
course.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of dope, man. And so it's in the making. We're gonna bring in the Stewies.
Man.
You know what I mean? So
please let me hear. We gotta be all well.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna be a fun day.
Most definitely.
That's like I said, my favorite group.
Yeah, most definitely. We're gonna make that happen, and then got to go down in the history books. Have the Stewie Brothers in one room, and then we'll definitely get to chop it up and hear more of these stories, man. And unfortunately, we're out of time. And man, I just wanna, thank you a lot again, man. I appreciate it, man. You don't know how much it means to me to have you sitting across from me, man. And I really appreciate that. And if you got any shout outs, any plugs you want to go in, man, go ahead, man.
Well, so this is Wednesday. This coming Saturday, if I'm right, this coming Saturday on the 10th. I got a show on the 10th with the South Park Coalition, Michigan South Park. They got the 35th annual show that they're putting on at the Scout Bar down in Houston, near NASA. I'll be in the house, but really, come see me, great. But you get to see Klondike Cat. You get to see K Reno, Point Blank. AC Chill will be in the building in spirit, RP. But we got, DBX, IQ, Gangsta Nip, Triple Sex. They're all going to be there. Anybody you've ever heard from the South Park Coalition ever. Dope E, Egypt E, and I go on. But come check us out, man. That'll be this weekend. And I always got to shout out my SPC, my 5735 family, man. My brother Shadow, Monster Mash, Rebel Reb, Mikey, and my son, man, Mello. Man, y'all come check us out, man. What else? My family. I love y'all, man. Thanks for the support. And I want to tell all y'all boys out there, man, or boys and girls out there, man, do you, man. I've been watching this social media lately, man, and don't be the follower like I told my son when he was a kid. Be that leader, man. Don't be the follower.
definitely. And yeah, man, let them know where they can see the Grim and Shadow show.
GRIMM and Shadow show every Saturday. Damn, that's been a long time since Saturday. Every Wednesday, 52 times a year, once a week. Every Wednesday at 7 o'clock on Instagram Live. You can tune in to GRIMM713. You can see me and my brother. We got the GRIMM and Shadow show. It's called The Gas Gang. Tune in. We're trying to be a podcast like my brother right here, but we're gonna try to follow in your steps. But in the meantime, every Wednesday, 7 o'clock, at least till 7 and 8, and then come check us out, the GRIMM and Shadow show. And last thing I'll tell you, I'm putting an album out.
Ooh.
It's been my last album was Sucker Punch. I can't even tell you what year that was.
Yeah.
But it's been like, it feels like forever. 15 years, something like that. 10, 15 years. I got an album and it's almost done. It's mixed. It's in the mix stages. We're about to master. So it'll be out in about a month or two. Shadow will tell me I'm lying and maybe say 2 to 3 months. But before the end of the year, man, GRIMM and Shadow.
Is there any possibility we might hear Bash or the Stewies on there?
Bash is on the album.
Okay.
I don't have any features, but I do have an album that I saw, a rap that I did with a feature that I did on actually Bash's album, Player Made Mexican 4. It's called Gouda. But we kind of revisited the song, fixed it up, made it a little shorter, just me and Bash. It's called Gouda. I got Bash on the album and I got nobody else. It's just me and Shadow.
Cool, man.
So far.
I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully I get an exclusive.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like that I can check it out and hear it out. And yeah, anything you got, man, send it my way. I'll go ahead and pump it up, man, and do what I can, man. And at least what I could do, you know, to show my appreciation, you know what I mean, for having this, you know, GRIMM on the show, man.
Well, thank you, bro. You're doing what you... Everything you're doing, man, is cool because I seen you doing it from the beginning, and I really appreciate how you're going about it because, hey, people say it, but most people don't do it, and then people do it, and most people don't do it right. Well, you're doing it right, man, and I got to give you your ups for that, for real.
Hey, appreciate that, man, and like I said, thank you again, and talk to your brother. So Shadow will be coming soon on Elm Street. He's gonna come in and take a seat. So, you know,
I'm gonna have to be here for that.
And I'm looking forward to that, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been looking forward to meeting your brother, man, and hopefully we can make that happen sooner than later. And man, like I said, thank you again for coming through, stopping by, showing me your love again. Like I said, if you know, you know. My man's been here since day one, man, and I appreciate that, man. You don't know how much that means to me, man. And like I said, man, appreciate the viewers. Thank you for following me, subscribing, all of that, man. Got nothing but love for everybody that's tuning in, man. And even them haters, man, I still got love for y'all too, man. It's all good, man. It's all love around here, you know what I'm talking about?
Love the haters.
Yeah, man. So, cause y'all motivate me, you know. Y'all keep the fuel, the fire going. So, without y'all, you know what I'm saying, I probably would have quit a long time ago.
Keep me up at night, man.
Yeah. So, most definitely, man. I appreciate it, man, and keep your ears to the streets, and I'll catch you on the block. It's your host, Money Elms. Peace.